Hello guys, and welcome to the rune discussion video. I know you've been waiting a long time, but believe me, it was worth the wait. I have been trying all of the runes and all of the builds and everything to try and make sure that the runes and masteries are the best that I can possibly get. And I am ready to share those with you, and I will discuss the builds on top of the runes, and I will also discuss runes that other people think are good, but I do not particularly like. So let's go ahead and get started and go straight into the video. We're going to start with the precision tree. The precision tree is without a doubt the most important tree for Master Yi. It gives us everything we need. However, many people are looking at the keystone masteries while I look at the other runes. So in the other runes, you will see things such as Triumph and the legend Alacrity or Electricity. I don't know how to pronounce that. So you will see these other runes down here, and these runes are fantastic. Now, when it comes to the Keystone Masteries, there's 3 of them, but I don't think any of them are particularly great on Yi, but they're okay. So let's go ahead and simply go straight into the best runes so that you can copy them if you want to. So my number 1 page for this patch is as follows. Press the attack, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. I hate how they use all these hard to pronounce words. In the second tree, you have Domination with Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter. So I will explain that tree here very soon, but I want to show you the other options that I like as well. So let's go ahead and look at the other option from the precision tree. Your second option is Precision with Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, Coup de Grace, Sudden Impact on the Domination tree with Relentless Hunter. The only change is the Keystone Mastery. However, I think Press the Attack is the better of the masteries. Let's go ahead and talk about my third favorite tree, which is something that a lot of people probably do not expect, which is the Inspiration tree. So in this tree, we run Glacial Augment, we go Perfect Timing, we do Magical Footwear, and then on top of that, Approach Velocity. And as the second tree, you should pretty much always bring Precision because you need that extra attack speed. You get Triumph, and you get Legend Alacrity. Those are my preferred options for the Inspiration tree. And our last tree that I will discuss is Domination. So Domination is actually a rather solid tree in my opinion, but I will get to that here in a second. Let me explain the masteries that I like to take here. First is, sorry, there's a cat in my camera. Electrocute, followed by Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, Relentless Hunter, and in the second tree, you want to run Precision with Triumph and Legend Alacrity. That is the tree I would use here. Some other trees that some people have discussed include the usage of Dark Harvest. You can swap over to Dark Harvest instead of Electrocute if you're interested in that. It works really well with the critical builds as well. So let me go ahead and discuss some of the builds that you will be using this season while we're at it. There are 2 primary builds, and the only time you're really going to change them is depending on which Keystone Mastery you bring in the Precision tree. Press the Attack has a build. Press the Attack has a build that revolves around critical. Lethal Tempo, on the other hand, revolves around going Gunzu's Rage Blade. However, I don't think Gunzu's Rage Blade is that good this patch, so I generally bring Press the Attack and I go full critical build. So in this case, for the first rune page, you want to bring critical. I will put the build here for you. Infinity Edge, Warrior, Phantom Dancer, plus your extra things. My games usually don't last that long, but you can include some extra items there. If you go Lethal Tempo, you want to consider Blood Razor into Gunzu's Rage Blade into Blade of the Rune King, and you can get additional attack speed that way. If you go into the Domination tree here, you would want to go critical build, the same as Press the Attack. The difference between Press the Attack and Electrocute is that Press the Attack can be used on multiple targets, while the Electrocute has a cooldown. And if you go Dark Harvest, then you want to go for the critical build as well, because you rely on snowballing off of multiple champion kills with your Alpha Strike. Inspiration, the final tree with the Glacial Augment, you want to go either build. You could do whichever build you want. However, the Blade of the Rune King build works really well because you can proc the Glacial Augment AoE. I, however, think this tree will probably be buffed in the future. It's an okay Keystone Mastery. However, the issue is that the slow comes on a little bit later than I would like. So there you go. If you are only interested in knowing the runes and masteries as well as the builds, we can list them all right here for you in the greatest of glory, and you no longer need to watch this video. However, if you are interested in why I pick what I pick, I will go ahead and start discussing that right about now. So let's go ahead and start. So in the precision tree, there are a few reasons why I pick the masteries that I do. Press the attack over lethal tempo. I think press the attack in all situations is superior to lethal tempo. I really don't like lethal tempo, but I included it as a an option because I figure that's what most people are going to build. I think press the attack with critical build is it's just better. It's absolutely better, and you can also use it for more than 6 seconds, and there's no wind up. In my opinion, lethal tempo needs to be decreased from the 1.5 seconds down to 0 for melee. So I'm actually going to combine both of these pages here because we're talking about it. So in my opinion, you should always go press the attack. That's what I've been running lately, and you should go crit build. Crit build is amazing this season with everybody playing bursty assassins. You can join in on the fun and you can crit build everybody. In my opinion, on hit is not the way to go anymore. It's just not as good as it used to be, and Rage Blade takes too long to stack up. There are no tanks, and you just don't do damage with it anymore. Just believe me, try the critical build, get away from the on-hit build a little bit, and you will enjoy it much more in this preseason. Now, when tanks come back some more, then you might want to go back to the on-hit. So, in my opinion, press the attack, hands down. Lethal tempo's a fun thing to do. I wouldn't do it too much. Next, we have Overheal, Triumph, and Presence of Mind. So, the only one I run is Triumph, and I haven't even tried the other ones. I don't feel the need to try the other ones. Everybody runs Triumph. In the Korea server, everybody runs it. Like, it's an amazing mastery. It's saved me so many times. I cannot recommend it enough. I really don't think anybody can argue against Triumph in this particular tree area here. The next rune is, the Legend series. So the Legend series, in my opinion, I really like the attack speed. I don't think that the 8% lifesteal is really that worth in comparison to the 18% attack speed. I mean, obviously 8% lifesteal and the attack speed are very similar, but that attack speed helps you throughout the entire game, and it's great. I do think the attack speed is really, really good. I've been using it all the time. I don't feel the need to change it at all. I really like it. If you really think you need the lifesteal, you can go for it. I'm not hating on the lifesteal. I just really like the attack speed. The tenacity, I think you can get away with building the tenacity when you're up against comps like Leona. You have your cannons, stuff like that. However, the issue with a lot of the CC that you're going to be facing nowadays is that they all use things like knockups and knockbacks, and you're not going to be able to use tenacity to reduce the duration of that CC. I would bring tenacity in very limited situations when you're up against cannons and Leonas and a lot of CC that can be reduced through tenacity. You can also, if you do that, you might want to consider going into the resolve tree and grabbing an extra unflinching, which gives you a lot of tenacity as well. That is the only situation where I would go to resolve as my second tree, which is why I did not include it in the primary rune builds, because I figure most players will not want to make their tree situationally. And the last one, I actually really like all the ones in the last one. I think they're all pretty good. I'm not too sure what to get between these three options. I've tried all of them, and I think that cut down is probably the least useful for me, which is the one in the middle. Basically, it gives you more damage for how much more HP the enemy has. However, the enemies don't have much HP because I talked about how it was a burst assassin meta. So cut down's not that useful right now. It could be useful later. Last Stand gives you 5 to 12% increased damage when you are below 60% health. I would like to, not be low health when I'm doing damage to people. I would prefer them to be low health and me kill them. You get 10% more damage with Coupe de Grace or whatever, with 40% if they have under 40% health. I think that's really good, because also if you get a takedown on a champion in a team fight, you get 9 extra AD, which is great as well. So that's even more damage that you'll be getting. I think, in my opinion, I think the Coupe de Grace is probably the best option here out of that tree. All right. Let's move on to the domination tree. And when we talk about the domination tree, this will also discuss the masteries that we should bring as a secondary tree when we bring precision. So you can make your decision on what kind of domination runes you want to run when you're running precision as your main tree. So the Keystone Masteries are 2 pretty decent choices here. I was really against Electrocute when it first came out, because it's basically like Thunderlords. But the scaling on Electrocute when you go AD is really good. I was playing some Kha'Zix, and I saw how good Electrocute was with Kha'Zix, and I tried it on Yi, and it works pretty good as well whenever you're going for that burst build. Now, if you're going for this build, you're not going so much for the resets and team fights, but it's still fine. I think Electrocute is definitely something you can consider, but you have to keep in mind it does have a cooldown. So, consider it. If you want the burst, you go for Electrocute. Dark Harvest, I have a really hard time justifying. I know a lot of people are getting into it, but especially in Korea, I don't know how it is in the other regions right now. In Korea, the games do not last more than 30 minutes. And by 30 minutes, you're not getting a good amount of Dark Harvest souls, so you can't really pop off with it. I think it's okay. If you want to run Dark Harvest, you can run Dark Harvest. However, Dark Harvest requires that you pick up another play style. So you need to run through the lanes when the cannon minions are there, and you'll get 8 extra stacks of Dark Harvest. It's a hard mastery to use, but I think if you use it efficiently, it can be very good. So onto the Greater Rune. The Greater Runes are pretty interesting, but I think the only one that you really want is Sudden Impact. Sudden Impact gives me a lot of damage in a game. If you hit Control C, you can see how much damage these keystones are giving you. And Sudden Impact gives me a lot of damage. Like, it actually gives me more than the Precision Mastery. So I definitely think Sudden Impact is worth picking up. And it is the mastery in this tree that you do not want to miss out on when you're playing with the Precision tree as your primary tree. You should always bring Sudden Impact, in my opinion. And the next tree, you have the choices between some vision things and the eyeball collection. Now, I don't think eyeball collection is that bad. In fact, when I bring domination, I do bring eyeball collection as my primary rune. If you're going to pick one of these, I would definitely pick the eyeball collection. However, eyeball collection is not something that I usually bring when I am playing with precision, because you get some extra attack damage over time as you play the game, but you miss out on the movement speed, and I'm going to talk about that. But if you're going down the domination tree, I think eyeball collection is the best within these 3 runes. In the final tree, you have some really interesting abilities here. You have Ravenous Hunter, which heals for your abilities. You don't need that because Alpha Strike does not heal much. Ingenious Hunter gives you the active item cooldown. You don't need that because you don't have any items. But the Relentless Hunter, in my opinion, is very good. A lot of people talk about how Celerity is better, which is the sorcery 4% bonus movement speed. The AD from that Celerity is very low, but the movement speed on it is 4%. So it takes about 2 stacks of Relentless Hunter to catch up, but Relentless Hunter gives you so much movement speed out of combat. At the max level of Relentless Hunter, I believe you get
48
out of combat movement speed. And you will often, with a Shiv or a Phantom Dancer, you will see yourself walking around the map at about
470 to 480
movement speed. Relentless Hunter makes it great. You can split push bot lane, and you can get all the way up the Baron before the enemies complete it, unless they're, very fed or they're doing it late in the game. It lets you catch up with people. It lets you run away. It's a very heavily underestimated rune, in my opinion, because Master Yi is one of the few junglers that can't make good use out of Boots of Mobility. He would rather get Berserker Greaves right now. I can't believe I'm saying that. You don't even need to get Tavis. You can get Berserker Greaves. It's all about that burst right now. So Relentless Hunter, in my opinion, is the best. However, you can replace it for the Eyeball Collection if you really aren't feeling it. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and lock that in. Now let's go ahead and look at the inspiration tree. I will also look at the sorcery tree as well to talk a little bit about that, because I know some of you are using sorcery on Master Yi. In the inspiration tree, the glacial augment is really good because it lets you get some ganks and it slows people and it lets you hit them multiple times before they can escape. However, the issue with glacial augment is that enemies are slowed like 2 seconds later, which means that they can kind of get a head start on you before they get slowed, which kind of sucks. But it is a decent mastery, and it works well with Blade and Rune King and Randuin's if you're going for that tank build. I feel like this is something that we may need in the future to help out Master Yi when the tank meta returns. I also think it will be buffed. When it comes to Unsealed Spellbook, I think that's okay. I tried it. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a bit hard. I just don't recommend it. But you can try it. Now we're going to go down into these runes here. The greater runes are actually very disappointing. The only one that I really think is worth taking is Perfect Timing. If you get the Hex Tech Trap or whatever it is, it actually tells the enemy that your flash is down. And as Master Yi, flash is your only escape, and you don't want to tell the enemies that your only escape is down. The stopwatch is really all you can do. It decreases the cost of the Guardian Angel, and it lowers the cooldown, although I think that's bugged. Yeah, that's pretty much all you want for that, just a stopwatch. Next, we have the boots. I love the magical footwear. The magical footwear is amazing. If you're going to take inspiration as a second tree, I recommend the magical footwear. And the reason why is because the magical footwear gives you the boots at 10 minutes, and for every takedown, minus 30 seconds. So you're looking at these magical footwears by 8 to 9 minutes. Which is usually about when you're finishing Blood Razor or Warrior, and when you're thinking about buying boots anyway. You get extra movement speed, and your upgraded boots are a bit cheaper as well. So I really like the magical footwear, and I don't really use the other items there. The last one, approach velocity, is very useful if you're running Glacial Augment. And the reason why is because when you slow the enemies with your Glacial Augment, you gain 10% bonus. You gain 10% bonus movement speed. It's quite a nice combo, actually. However, if you're running Inspiration as a second tree and you do not have Glacial Augment, you may consider going Cosmic Insight. That way you do not need the red to get any usage out of increased velocity. But with Glacial Augment, increased velocity is very good. The last tree that we'll talk about is the Sorcery tree. And let me pull this up here. So in the Sorcery tree, you have 3 keystones. I would not run any of those keystones ever. I do not think sorcery is a tree that you should be bringing as your primary tree. They're just not good on Yi. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Phase Rush is not good anymore. It is a worse version of Storm Raiders, and you don't need the slow resistance, so do not go to sorcery tree. If you're going to bring sorcery as a second tree, there are some runes that you can bring. My personal favorite from the greater runes is the Ultimate Hat. Master Yi's ultimate is very critical. He needs it up or else he will not win any fights. Definitely recommend the Ultimate Hat as your greater rune there. So check out the Ultimate Hat. On top of that, we're going to go down. So in the second one, Transcendence and Celerity are both very good options that you can run here. Celerity is good if you want the increased movement speed. Transcendence is good if you get a bunch of CDR. Some people have been buying multiple Black Cleavers and they end up with like 400 to 500 AD and a ton of health because it turns your CDR into attack damage. So for a Black Cleaver will give you 24 AD extra for the CDR. It's not bad. It's a cheesy strategy, but it's not bad. Transcendence is definitely an option you can look at. And the bottom area here, the last rune, I think Gathering Storm is probably the best for Master Yi. But as I said, the games in Korea do not last long enough to get the full benefit out of Gathering Storm. In most games, I would probably only get the 14 bonus AD. However, if you find your games are going really long, you might want to consider grabbing the Gathering Storm. Now, our bonus, we're going to talk about the Resolve tree, actually. It's a bonus here because there is one mastery within the Resolve tree, which is really good in my opinion, and that is Unflinching. So if you're going to bring Resolve as a second tree, you want to get Unflinching because Unflinching will give you a lot of tenacity, which is really useful in team fights against people that bring a lot of CC. So that is something you want to consider. As for the runes that are under it, I don't like any of the runes under it. Second Wind's okay if you're laning. I think Second Wind's pretty good if you're laning. But if you're jungling, Maybe grab Iron Skin. I don't know. I don't think it's a fantastic tree outside of Unflinching for Master Yi. And maybe it's not even a good tree in general because there aren't many tanks right now, but it could just be the way the meta's shifting. So anyway, I hope this answers your questions regarding the trees and anything like that. If you have additional questions, let me know in the comments. Once again, I'm sorry it took so long, but I wanted to make sure that I could give you guys accurate information instead of randomly throwing stuff at you. If you're interested in getting more information, you can always check out the Facebook page or my Twitter, where I usually discuss things in real time, my thoughts. YouTube is more where I put the finished product. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. And please let me know which of these runes that you preferred, and if you think I'm right or if you think I'm wrong. And I'll see you guys next time.